Space looks beautiful from Earth. Millions of stars, distant galaxies, colorful nebulae. But behind that beautiful view is a universe filled with objects so powerful that a black hole could pass through our solar system. A solar storm could disrupt modern technology. And somewhere in the universe, stars are exploding with enough energy to affect planets light years away. These aren't science fiction scenarios. They're real cosmic events. So today, we're counting down 10 terrifying things that could happen in space. And number 1 isn't something that could destroy Earth tomorrow. It's something far bigger. It could eventually change the fate of the entire universe. Fact has on 0. The moon is slowly leaving us. You probably think of the moon as Earth's permanent companion. But technically, it is slowly getting farther away. Every year, the moon moves roughly 3.8 centimeters away from Earth. That sounds tiny. But over millions and billions of years, it adds up. The reason is something surprisingly familiar. Tides. Earth's rotation creates tidal forces, and some of Earth's rotational energy is gradually transferred into the moon's orbit. The result? Earth is very slowly losing rotational energy, while the moon moves farther away. Don't panic. This isn't going to make the moon suddenly disappear. We're talking about an incredibly slow process. But there's something fascinating about it. Billions of years from now, if Earth still exists in anything resembling its current form, the relationship between Earth and the moon will be very different. And that brings us to something much more immediate. Because the moon isn't the only thing in space that can affect Earth. Fact #9. A rogue planet could enter our solar system. Imagine looking into the night sky and seeing a planet where no planet should be. Not Mars. Not Jupiter. A completely different world. A rogue planet. These are planets that aren't gravitationally bound to a star. They're essentially wandering through interstellar space. And astronomers have evidence that rogue planets may be extremely common. Most would probably pass through space without ever coming near us. But in the incredibly unlikely event that a massive rogue planet passed close enough to the solar system, comets could be pushed toward the inner solar system. Asteroids could be redirected. And planets could potentially have their orbits altered. Earth wouldn't necessarily be destroyed directly. The danger would come from the gravitational chaos that could follow. And here's the disturbing part. We wouldn't necessarily see such an object coming from millions of light years away. Space is enormous. And detecting a dark planet that produces almost no light can be incredibly difficult. But rogue planets aren't the most powerful thing that could enter our cosmic neighborhood. Because there are objects out there that don't just disturb planets. They can tear stars apart. Fact #8. A black hole could pass through the solar system. Black holes are often portrayed as giant cosmic vacuum cleaners. That's not quite how they work. If our sun were magically replaced by a black hole with exactly the same mass, Earth would continue orbiting almost exactly as it does now. We wouldn't suddenly get sucked in, but get a black hole close enough to the solar system. And everything changes. Its gravity could disturb the orbits of planets, comets, and asteroids. A smaller black hole passing through the outer solar system could potentially send objects flying onto completely different trajectories. And a more massive one passing close to the sun could cause even more dramatic gravitational disruption. The good news? There is no known black hole currently heading toward Earth. So this isn't something you need to worry about tonight. But black holes prove something important. In space, distance is everything. An object can be completely harmless from far away, and unimaginably destructive if it gets close enough. And there's another cosmic event where distance could make the difference between survival. Fact #7. A supernova could explode near Earth. Stars don't live forever. Some massive stars eventually reach the end of their lives and explode. A supernova can briefly become extraordinarily bright, releasing enormous amounts of energy from far enough away. It's an incredible astronomical event. But if a sufficiently powerful supernova occurred close enough to Earth, its radiation could damage Earth's atmosphere. High-energy radiation could increase the amount of harmful radiation reaching the surface. And if the event were extremely close, it could potentially have serious consequences for life. Fortunately, astronomers know of no nearby star currently expected to explode in a way that poses an imminent threat to Earth. But here's what makes supernovae terrifying. We don't need to imagine them. We don't need to imagine them. We've actually observed them happening in distant galaxies. Stars that were once stable suddenly became brilliant cosmic explosions. And somewhere in the universe, one is happening right now. But even a supernova isn't the only explosion capable of affecting an entire planet. Because there is another event, much closer to home. Fact #6. The sun could hit Earth with a massive solar storm. Every second, the sun is throwing energy into space. Most of the time, Earth's magnetic field protects us. But occasionally, the sun releases enormous eruptions of plasma and magnetic energy. These are called coronal mass ejections. If a powerful one hits Earth, and we've already seen what these storms can do. They can interfere with satellites, disrupt radio communications, affect GPS systems, and in extreme cases, induce currents in electrical infrastructure. In 1859, the Carrington event produced one of the most powerful geomagnetic storms ever recorded. Telegraph systems were disrupted. and auroras were reportedly visible unusually far from the polar regions. Now imagine something comparable happening in today's world. A world dependent on satellites, electricity, communications and digital infrastructure. The sun wouldn't need to destroy Earth. It could simply interfere with the technology civilization depends on. And that's what makes this next part so important. Because the next threats aren't just about destroying planets. They're about showing us just how fragile our place in space really is. Fact #5, a neutron star. When a massive star dies, its core can collapse under its own gravity. The result can be one of the strangest objects in the universe. A neutron star. Imagine something with more mass than the Sun, compressed into a sphere roughly the size of a city. That's a neutron star. Its matter is packed so tightly that ordinary intuition stops working. And some neutron stars rotate hundreds of times every second. They're extreme. But there's an even more terrifying version. A magnetar. Magnetars possess some of the strongest magnetic fields known in the universe. If a magnetar were close enough to Earth, its intense radiation and magnetic activity could potentially have serious effects. Thankfully, known magnetars are extremely far away. But their existence reminds us of something extraordinary. The universe doesn't need giant size to create incredible power. Sometimes, the most dangerous objects are incredibly small. And speaking of small objects, the next one could be hiding in the dark. Fact #4, a giant asteroid could hit Earth. Earth has been hit by asteroids before. One of the most famous examples is the impact associated with the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs around 66 million years ago. The object was roughly 10 kilometers across. Dust and debris entered the atmosphere. Climate conditions changed. Food chains collapsed. And countless species disappeared. Astronomers continuously track near-Earth objects. And that's important because unlike many cosmic threats, asteroids can sometimes be detected before they arrive. Scientists can calculate their trajectories and determine whether they pose a threat. But space is enormous. Not every object is easy to detect, especially smaller or darker objects approaching from difficult directions. So asteroid impacts remain one of the cosmic hazards scientists take seriously. But there's something even more fascinating. What if the object approaching Earth wasn't an asteroid at all? Fact #3, a comet could appear from the outer solar system. Comets are often beautiful. When they approach the sun, they can develop enormous glowing tails, turning them into spectacular objects in the night sky. But some comets come from incredibly distant regions of the solar system. A comet sent toward the inner solar system could potentially cross Earth's orbital path. Most comets aren't remotely large enough to threaten civilization. But a sufficiently large impact could release enormous amounts of energy. And unlike an asteroid that might be discovered years in advance, some long-period comets can arrive from extremely distant regions. That makes them more difficult to predict. But now, we're leaving individual objects behind. Because the next scenario is something that doesn't need to hit Earth. Fact #2, the sun will eventually change. Our sun feels permanent. It rises every morning, provides warmth, and powers almost every ecosystem on Earth. But the sun is a star. And stars evolve. Billions of years from now, the sun will enter a dramatically different stage of its life. It will expand into a red giant. As it expands, conditions in the inner solar system will become completely hostile to Earth-like life. The oceans would eventually be lost. The atmosphere would change dramatically. And Earth would no longer be the world we know today. Eventually, the sun will shed its outer layers and become a white dwarf. So the sun isn't eternal. Neither is Earth. Neither is the solar system. And that brings us to the final fact. The fact #7, the universe could eventually go dark. The universe is filled with stars. Stars create light. They create energy. They create many of the elements that eventually become planets and life. But stars don't live forever. Over unimaginably long periods of time, stars run out of fuel. Galaxies change. Star formation slows. And the universe may gradually become darker and colder. One possible long-term scenario is known as heat death. In this scenario, the universe eventually reaches a state where usable energy becomes extremely scarce. No new stars forming. No galaxies filled with brilliant young suns. No warm worlds like Earth. Just an increasingly cold and dark cosmos. But don't worry. If this happens, it would be on timescales so enormous that they are almost impossible for the human mind to comprehend. We're talking about a future vastly beyond the lifetime of our Sunday. Beyond the existence of Earth as we know it. Beyond almost anything we've ever experienced. And that's perhaps the most terrifying thing about space. It's not that everything will suddenly disappear. And unimaginably longer periods of time. Until the stars themselves become memories. We've spent this entire video looking at ways space could threaten Earth. Black holes. Asteroids. Supernovae. Solar storms. Rogue planets. But there's another way to look at it. These events aren't proof that the universe wants to destroy us. Inside an enormous and constantly changing universe. And somehow, against all those odds, we're here. Looking up. Asking questions. and trying to understand it. Because perhaps the most incredible fact about space isn't how dangerous it is. It's that, in this unimaginably huge universe, we are alive enough to wonder about it. And who knows? Maybe the next discovery won't be something terrifying. Maybe it'll finally answer the biggest question of all. Are we alone?